Welcome to the Circuit de Navarra for the FIM CV Repsol. It is round 6 of the championship. We are in northern Spain, about 60 kilometres southeast from Pamplona, where they do the famous bull run. Now, if you just missed it, we had a very exciting European Superbike Race 1 where the conditions played the part, but it is dry now, and we're gearing up for the Moto2 European Championship Race 1 today. We've got 2 races in this class today. With me is Harry Lloyd from MotoGP.com, and the Moto2 Championship, Harry, well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? It's been dominated by one man really at the moment, Edgar Pons, who will be making the step up next year to the Moto2 World Championship.
Yeah, it was recently announced that he will be joining the Pequeñas Amarillas HP40 team, the team he currently rides on. He'll be joining their World Championship squad full-time next year. But even for this year, he'll be racing full-time in the World Championship alongside the CEV Championship. He's with the Italtrans team in the Moto2 World Championship, stepping in for Mickey Kallio, who goes to the QMF team. There are musical chairs going on there. But that means that him and Xavi Vieja, who are battling for the title here, will be racing against each other every single weekend between now and Valencia on the 15th of November. And
the awesome thing is next year they're going to be joined by Luca Marini as well, who's only got to stuck it on the front row here. So we talk about the Moto2 European Championship and the Junior Moto3 World Championship as being stepping stones for the World Championship. I mentioned World Championship a lot in that sentence. But they really, really are. It's a level playing field, same bikes, a lot of the similar teams. These guys get to do a lot more testing in this series, so that's why you see, for instance, the Pequeñas Amarillas team and other teams using the CEVs to develop their riders on the same tyres. They're all on Dunlops, they're the same bikes, say a lot of, similar track for a lot of them, so it's the perfect stepping stone for people to come in and get used to it. Now, we talk about the advantages they have. We say we get 2 days of testing before the rounds here for the CEV, and then on a Friday it's 2 practice sessions, Saturday 2 qualifying sessions. The best time from any of those sessions is taken to decide the grid, and then we have 2 races today in the Moto2 Championship, and after these 2 races there's only 3 rounds left, so technically we could see Edgar Pons lift the championship today. Am I right in thinking that?
Yes, Edgar Pons currently leads with 140 points ahead of Vieja, who's on 106. That's a 34-point difference.
So if he got a 50, he'd have an 84, but he'd need Vieja to crash out effectively or score a few points in the next 2 races.
So the combinations are a bit complicated, so we'll wait till after race 1 to see how it all plays out. But as we said previously, he does need to lead here with a 75-point advantage or more with the final rounds remaining. Will that happen? I don't know. Both Pons and Vieja have been pretty evenly matched. In the race, Pons has been pretty much miles ahead in terms of on-track distance, but Vieja has really stuck it to him, and last time out we saw Vieja get the edge over Pons in Albacete.
Yeah, it's been a very close season, you say. I mean, you look at Pons' scoring, I think it's been win second, win second. That's not bad for a season run. We'll run through the grid for you very shortly. But there's a great mix of nationalities on this Moto2 European Championship grid, as we say. This really is the FOCV, where the best riders and the best teams in the world come to prove themselves before making a step up into the World Championship. And as we talked about there, the fact that Marini, Pons are all going up. Vieja is already in it, as you mentioned. Stephen Odendaal's World Championship rider, South African. You've got Eric Ganardo. There's so many riders that have been in the World Championship and will be making step up. So brilliant series, and we should have some very exciting racing for you today. Now the riders and teams are lining up on the grid there, and I haven't seen Pons arrive yet. Marini's there, but he will be making his way shortly, I should imagine. It's Tesha on pole, isn't it?
Yep, Alan Tesha, yet another one of these riders who's ridden in the World Championship. Tesha, a former Moto3 rider, rode the Honda, wasn't the most competitive bike, but even with a less than ideal bike, Tesha still had some really good results in qualifying in the World Championship. And in the CEV, we've seen him really well. Unfortunately, he blows a bit hot and cold. He's sort of a podium or Bennett sort of rider, especially last year. He was solid results, 2/3 of a second, but only finished 5 races, unfortunately.
Well, and you look at him as well, he's come through as well. Come through from the French 125 Champion, the Spanish 125 GP Championship, and the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup. So really good potential. He still is only young. He's 20 years old, the French rider. And you can see him there, number 89. That is Alan Tesha, lining up on pole position.
Yep, and he's on the Mistral 610. That is the same bike that the Tech 3 squad in the World Championship run. So Vieja, his teammate, is running for the Tech 3 squad in the World Championship. So Vieja getting all that extra bike time, but still Tesha has been able to produce a really solid result here. There we go, getting a nice view of his phone case. But Tesha usually goes well here. Last year, similar situation. and he's certainly one to, maybe not for the win, his race pace can sometimes be a bit off, but certainly for the podium he'll be in that fight.
Well, let's just recap on that, as you say. Tesh actually had the lap record, the pole record last year, 141.765. He's gone over a second quicker as well. No, just under a second quicker, so 140.873 to take his pole this year. And as you say, for the Frenchman, obviously likes this circuit. He's had some great results. He'll want to bring home a win here. But there's a lot of riders out there with points to prove. As we mentioned, Pons, obviously starting on the front row, could theoretically take the championship if results go his way. And we'll try and do our best mathematics to keep you updated with all of that. And this man here, now Luca Marini, known as Valentino Rossi's half-brother. Riding for the
to be honest, I think he deserves to be known as a lot more than just Valentino Rossi's half-brother.
His eyes do look like Rossi, though, don't they?
He does have that Rossi look. You know, look, second in just his third ever Moto2 race, really good result. He's finished top 10 every time he's finished. You know, he's an excellent racer in his own right. And as you said, it does look like he'll be moving to the World Championship potentially next year. Still, one or two T's and I's to be dotted and crosses on that contract. But he is a really strong rider, and he's another one who'll maybe still a tiny bit off the win. But this track's really interesting due to the lots of tight corners.
Yeah.
So it does close up the field a lot, especially in this Moto2 class. So we could be in for one or two surprises. But just behind Marini is teammate Edgar Pons, as we say, racing full-time in the World Championship and here. I don't think he has a weekend off until basically Christmas time because there's so much racing and testing.
Yeah, and he's the son, obviously, we should say, of Cito Pons. His brother Axel Pons already racing in the World Championship for the AGR team.
Yes.
It's good that I know that, you know.
And really solid results, you know, not lower than the second step of the podium, only on the second step of the podium twice, and both those times have been to Liège. So he does have the solid edge over Liège, and he will just be looking to keep.
And let's be honest, he's been dominant when he has taken those race wins. Now that's interesting. We're starting to see people there. They were huddled under a plastic sheet. There are umbrellas out on the grid. Are we starting to get spots of rain again? This would be incredible. After what happened in the Superbike races, just to recap, the riders all lined up on the grid on slicks, did the warm-up lap, frantically signalled to their teams they wanted to change to wets. Everyone but one did that. Another rider, Max Sheep, kind of went off the grid with his bike to get them changed back onto slicks, and it was completely dry. So it'll be interesting to see what they do here. Federico Fellini then, the 20-year-old Italian, lines up at the head of the second row on the Suter.
Yeah, unfortunately, a bit of an injured wrist there. His team boss just signalling that hopefully it shouldn't be too much issue as his left hand is not his gas hand, so hopefully he'll still be able to twist it. But Fellini had a wild card in the World Championship, did okay. You know, it's really tough for wildcards to come into the World Championship because the level is so high, but he did respectable. Yeah, he was respectable, and he's another one of these guys that trains with Rossi at his ranch a lot.
Yeah, and Fellini, you know, last year had the best place finish of 5th in the CV Moto2. He had 2 retirements at the start of the year, 2 DNFs. He's been building a 9th. The next time out in Catalonia, and then 2 4th places at Aragon and an 8th. A little bit disappointed from there, Albacete. But his best qualifying performance of the season. He sees himself safe on the second row for the first time this year.
Yep, and here's Xavi Vierge, as we say, second in that championship. It's really just that one DNF in Catalonia that's really hurting him right now. As we say, 34-point difference. That's pretty solid. He's going to have to produce a bit of magic here today. He's right behind Pons on that second row, but it's going to be a really close fight because all of those guys in the top 7 or 8 in this class are really, really close with each other.
And that's his worst qualifying performance of the season. There was a bit of a disruption yesterday to qualifying. We had a power car halfway through the Moto3 session 1, didn't we? Which meant everything got shifted back a bit. So it did disrupt some of the riders' preparation. So you can understand some results not quite being as you might expect. But yeah, Vierge, he'll have his work cut out from 5th on the grid, especially because he will want to stop Pons taking the victory, keep this championship alive. Number 6 then, the 19-year-old Brazilian Eric Granado.
Yep, recently crowned as the Brazilian Supersport champion, taking 6 wins in that series. He pretty much dominated it. Now he's here in Spain to try and, you know, take himself to the next level. Granado's another one who's had a lot of World Championship experience.
Yeah.
You know, he debuted in the Moto2 class in the World Championship, which is a big step to take. He then went back down to Moto3, and now he's back in the European Championship to, you know, just really refine himself.
And racing for that Andorra-based promo racing team as well. And as you say, it's actually his second most qualified for the season. He's so consistent. 4th position in the first round, 7th on the grid, 4th on the grid, 5th, and now 6th on the grid in this round in the rounds previously. So very consistent, and as we say, hasn't finished, I don't think, worse than 8th this season. So,
and here is Stephen Odendal. Stephen Odendal, he has 1 or 2 problems in qualifying, you know. As we can see there, really strong almost constant podium contender, but he just lets himself down a bit in qualifying, unfortunately. But he's another one who, especially in these slightly tricky conditions, you know, maybe shuts his eyes and leaves the braking a bit late.
And his fiancée Denise next to him there. Now, we always see these two out and about around whenever we go. They always seem to stay in the same hotel as us, the AGR team. Great bunch of guys as well. So Stephen Oden, others, you say, young South African 22. Really, again, Moto2 World Championship experience. It's a brilliant grid we have here, and it is really some of the best young talent out there in the world, as we know, that all come together. So you can see why it's so competitive. And talking of talent from around the world, how about this guy?
Yes, this is Nagashima, yet another World Championship rider. You know, especially on these front two rows, it's really easy to say who isn't a former World Championship rider. Nagashima had a year in the World Championship, pretty mixed. Now he's come to the CEV again to really step up his level. He's had really strong results. Bit of a blip last time out in Albacete with that 13th, but otherwise solid in the top 10.
And remember, Tetsuya Nakashima, as you say, was racing the World Championships, had a horrific injury, didn't he? Where he broke, I think, both bones in his leg. It was really, really nasty. So it was a season really of coming back, refinding his feet for the Telluri TSR team. And as you say, he's 7th in the championship as it stands. So good work from him. Now, moving on.
Yes, Marcos Ramirez in 9th.
You love this guy,
yes.
And I don't blame you.
Now, Moto2 also runs alongside the stock 600 class. So there you see Ramirez is on a Yamaha. He's on a stock Yamaha R6 and has still managed to qualify in 9th position.
So this is a stock Yamaha R6, pretty much a bike you can go and buy on the road, make a few changes to it, and he's competing against full prototype Moto2 machines. And as you say, brilliant result last time out in Albacete, 14th, when the rest of the stock guys, no disrespect, were normally towards the back of the field. And to qualify in 9th here, wow, just simply wow. 17-year-old.
Really good result, and you know, he's one that in these conditions will definitely be one to watch. Here is Granado's teammate, Xavier Cardalus from Andorra, one of the 17 different nationalities we have on the field. Some decent results from him, you know, at top 10, not too bad.
An Andorran for the Andorran promo racing team, it makes sense. As you say, the young fellow, he's only, I think, 17 now. He was 16 when we started it. Finished the CV Moto3 last year in 22nd place overall, and he's currently 16th in the championship, and great, really, he's equalled. He's one of his best qualified performances of the season. So I think actually he had a 9th in Portimao, didn't he? And a 10th in Barcelona.
Here's Thomas Gradinger, the Austrian, lining up in 11th position. Solid result from him. He's had a couple of good showings this year and has really started to now come a bit more towards the points.
Yeah, CV Moto3 last year, no points. Best place finish of 24th. He's 21st in the championship overall for the Cofane racing team, riding the FTR. Now, Thibaut Bertin, the French rider, number 8, currently, well, he will be 12th on the grid, so he's completing the 4th row. He was CV Superstock 600 champion last year, dominated this season on the podium in all of them and won the last 5 rises. But as we say, there aren't that many stock riders. I think there are 4 on the grid today. So let's have a little look through that starting grid for you before we get involved with the Moto2 European Championship. Race 1, and 7 of 11 this season. It's Tesha Marini and Pons on the front row, with Fellini, Viege and Granado making up row 2.
Yep, then it's Odendal, Nagashima and Marcos Ramirez, as we said, on that stock 600. He'll definitely be one to watch, not just for the 600 win, but also to challenge some of these
real talented guys. Rider. The Andorran, as we mentioned, Xavi Cardelis ahead of Thomas Gradinger and Thibaut Bertin, who makes up row 4.
Then on row 5 is Alejandro Medina, one to watch on the starts, Julian Morales, Urkel Lucanau, Max Enderlein, Adrian Pitet and Ramdan Rosley, the Malaysian, rounding out row 6.
Yes, for the Petronas Malaysian team. Christian Palomares starts row 7 ahead of Miguel Pons, no relation to Axel and Edgar Pons. Thomas Sigvartsen, while Gabriel Ruhu heads up row 8 with Juan Salasa, the Argentinian, and Marcel Brenner, the Swiss rider. Well, Nicky Coates there, number 65 and 25th place on row 9 with Bartolome Sanchez and Borja Cuero. And I believe we have a second British rider who we're just going to see sneak in there.
Yes, Corey Turner, the Australian, in 28th ahead of Frossard, and then Bradley Ray. Bradley Ray is on the experimental Virus machine. It has hub-centered steering on the front, a lot like Ron Haslam's Elf Honda, if anyone can remember that.
In other words, it doesn't have the telescopic forks, you don't get the feedback through the front. And the idea is it lightens up the front so it's not having to do the suspension, braking and turning all at the same time, it just is turning. In theory, a brilliant idea.
Yeah, you can just see him at the back there on that dark
and you
bike.
can see the little bit sticking out of the side. That's how it controls the turning and the suspension. Now, what's really interesting is the Virus technically, in theory, could be, as you say, a brilliant innovation. But for riders I spoke to, not just on the Virus, the hub center steering doesn't give the rider the feedback that you're used to because it's designed not to. And the problem with that, especially in tricky or mixed conditions, is that the rider uses that feedback to tell when he's on the edge.
Yeah, and that's the thing with all these riders is, you know, none of these guys are starting out. They've all been in Moto3, they've been in pre-Moto3, they've been riding air quotes conventional bikes. So they just suddenly have to step onto something that's crazy, like the Virus, and to completely relearn what they should be feeling from the bike after years and years. You know, most of these guys start riding bikes competitively when they're 4 years old. know, for someone like Bradley Ray, he's had 14 years of, you know, knowing I should do it this way, and then suddenly all this feels completely different. So for him to even qualify, it's been a really tough year. There's a lot of, you know, teething problems with that bike. It's still new. So it certainly looks cool. I'll give it that.
It looks awesome. I know they have, the problem is it's a very complex system, so the mechanics generally have to work on the bike quite a lot, rebuild it almost after every session, the kind of steering system. But as we say, it's always good to see pioneers in the grid. And Bradley Ray, very talented young rider, also riding British Superbikes, stock thousands, I believe, doing rather well there.
He's ridden almost everything this year. I think he started the year on 125 in the British series, then he rode some stock 600, then he did some Moto2, then he did some more British stuff, and now he's back here in the Moto2 Championship. Bradley Ray also had a Moto2 World Cup in the World Championship on an FTR at Silverstone, unfortunately crashing. Oh, big moment here for Stephen Odendahl. Looks like he's gone down. Conditions clearly very tricky. Here we can just watch the Odendahl crash again. It looks like, I'm not quite sure what happened there. Did Fellini maybe touch his rear? It looked like Odendahl just high-sided.
That's disastrous for Odendahl. He was, as you say, starting from 7th in the 3rd row. It's one of his worst.
And it looks like he's quite winded as well. That was obviously quite a heavy fall from a high side, even at slow speed, you know, being flicked. He was flicked solid 5 foot up in the air. So to come down, probably just had his wind knocked out of him.
Hopefully he's okay there and he won't be injured.
But Nagashima almost tipping over on the grid. Unfortunately, some of these riders having 1 or 2 problems. Nagashima looked like he was just lining up and then...
Do you know what? Do you want to hear the good news? It's getting really dark out there as well. Rain-wise, it is getting dark.
It's all about to happen, but the lights are about to come on. All these riders ready to go. No dramas like on the Superbike grid. So now
here we go. The lights will come on and then they will stay on for 1 to 3 seconds when they go out. We're underway in the Moto2 European Championship Race 1 here at Navarra.
Solid start from Pons there. Really good drag off the line, just nice and down. It looks like Pons is going to lead.
Brilliant start from Tesha though. Is he going to lead into turn 1? And he does, ahead of Marini. Marini cutting off the nose of Pons. Is that Nagashima through into 3rd?
Pons actually getting shuffled down a fair bit there. As we said, turn 1 is
and someone's run off already at turn 1.
That looks like number 10, the Andorran rider. And everyone getting through there. As we said, turns 2 and 3 incredibly tight. For turn 3, these Moto2 bikes almost stopped. And it looks
look at Tesha off at the start. Viege is up into 2nd. A brilliant start from Viege from 5th on the grid. We were saying one of his worst qualifying performances of the season. But Tesha, he's just disappearing at the front already.
Meanwhile, Pons has been shuffled down to 6th. So a really bad start from Pons. This is exactly the sort of thing that Viege wants. Not really the thing that Pons wants. Pons just there behind Medina. As we said, Medina definitely one to watch in the starts. He's made an excellent start up into 5th, having started in 13th.
You say it every week, but you're so right. Alfred Medina, he just knows how to get that bike off the line brilliantly. But Tesha, look how confident he's looking here, dangling a leg, probably because he thinks someone's going to come up the inside, but doesn't know he's got a 2nd advantage at least there. Brilliant start from Nagashima. Again, he's up into 7th place. And as you said, now we talked about Pons possibly winning this championship here, but good couple of results for Viege, and it could turn it around completely.
And especially with both of them racing.
Huge moment from Pons there.
That was Pons absolutely out of the seat. He still maintains the head of that group, but now that front group's breaking away.
And he'll lose momentum.
It looks like there could be 1 or 2 problems for Pons there. You know, he's had a really tiptoe opening up, and then that huge moment there, completely out of the seat. Well, it's really lucky to stay on.
Conditions so different to what they'd have been riding in all weekend. It's been sunny, it's been bright here, temperature's been up to about 23 degrees. And riders, their settings and their power, just having to get used to this. The tyres will be cold, the grip won't be there when they get on the power. They won't quite have the same power under braking because there won't be the friction. But Tesha there, as we see, leading from Viege.
And really solid lead for Tesha already over a second in just 1 lap. That's really good. These Moto2 guys can wear their tyres quite a lot, especially Tesha. I've seen him have 1 or 2.
Another huge
moment there.
I think a lot of people aren't quite used to the cold effect, and there is no damp on the track now. It is just the cold on those slick tyres. Wow, everyone is having moments.
That has allowed Viege to close up a fair bit. It now looks like the gap between Viege to Tesha and then Viege to Marini. Here we go. This is the moment for Pons. He comes out and the rear end just tries to step away from him. He's lucky to stay on there, you know, right leg completely off the foot pegs, but straight back on the gas. And here we are with teammate Marini having a slightly calmer ride in 3rd.
Well, actually, Stephen Odendahl's high tide on the warm-up lap maybe was an indication of what these guys are all showing us now, because all the top 3 and 6 have had huge moments at some point. And as you say, Viege and Marini now starting to close in on Tesha. That's the battle at the front with your top 3 riders. Tesha and Viege, obviously, Target Back Motorsport teammates.
Yeah, solid ride here from Marini. I think, you know, he's seen a lot of these people have some big moments, and I think he'll just be taking it nice and steady, you know. He's another one who's not really in championship contention, just wants solid results before moving up to potentially the World Championship. So he'll just try and close down Viege and then see what happens from there.
It'll be interesting to see now with Tesha and Viege. Obviously, team orders are not in ship to short radio and in this championship, but obviously it would be very beneficial for Liège to take the race win, especially with Pons currently down in 7th, 3.2 seconds behind Tesha at the front. So it's interesting. While in the last race we had 30 seconds separating the riders in the first lap, we've only got 10 seconds separating the first 23 riders, 15 separating the whole grid.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like Pons has made up too much ground on those guys that are heading in. Pons right now behind Nagashima and Farina.
Pons dropped down an extra space here. Nagashima's come through on him into 7th. So really bad for championship leader Pons. But as you say, well, obviously he'll want to win this championship. He's focusing on the Moto2 World Championship now with the Italtrans team. Before making a step up, which is actually this Amarilla's team step across to the team next year. But look, they seem to be gapping these two Targo Bank BMWs. Marini in 3rd and just opening up a nice little lead there. It's just over 1.2 seconds now.
Yeah, but Liège now right with Tesha, so he'll be looking for a way through at any second. This will be huge for Liège to gain back some points on Pons. So a really good result from him. Maybe a bit lucky that Pons has had 1 or 2 problems. Obviously, with 2 races, if it is a setting problem for Pons, they'll be able to change that. If it's maybe a bad suspension part or something like that, they will be able to change that for race 2. So hope is not yet lost for Pons, but as these results stand, it doesn't look like he'll be able to take the championship this weekend.
Let's just have a little rundown of the top 10 then. It's Tesha from Liège and Marini. That's Rafati at 4th in the lead at the moment. Granado into 4th. Medina just after Repsol starting to 5th. Nagashima 6th. Pons up into 7th now. Ramirez into 8th on that R6. Unbelievable. Morales 9th and Thibaut Bertin is in 10th with Miguel Pons in 11th. Good start from Miguel Pons.
Yeah, really. He's on the Imotech, which is very unique. Not quite as unique as the virus, but it's definitely very different to all of these bikes. It's really
another good start there from Nicky Coates as well, up from 25th on the grid. The British rider into 17th. Very consistent season for Nicky. Not been brilliant, but has been consistently around. So he had 417th or 317 finishes, a 24th, a 12th, and a 21st. So mixed results really, but that's a great start from him.
Yeah, it looks like Tesha has now seen that Liège is starting to close him down. It's opened up that gap. It's now about half a second. Last lap it was 0.2. So Tesha trying to put the hammer down, but Tesha has to be really careful. We've seen him make 1 or 2 mistakes this year and last year.
Well, it is just tricky out there, isn't it? As you say, this rider's just not used to it. We've got a crash. Rider number 56, Gradinger. Thomas Gradinger's gone down, and that's at turn 10, but it looks like he's okay.
Yeah, luckily, sorry. Yeah, a second fall, it looks like there's also a problem for Fellini. Fellini's coming to the pits. It looks like Fellini, number 22, down in 28th spot with his pit. So
yeah, just looking down pit lane. In fact, there we go. Exactly that. Maybe, now that he was quite up the instant with Onoda on the first lap. Do you think maybe it's a sensor or something?
No, it looks like it's his left wrist there that he injured.
Yeah.
He's straight off that bike.
Yeah, you can see holding the wrist there, giving the indication. Obviously too much pain for him. We saw it with Carol Abraham in the World Championship as well, with his toe that he's had having to pull out the race. And there we see Pons getting his own back on that.
No, that's Eric Granado now up on Marini. Really good ride there from Granado. We've seen Granado have some solid rides, but fade towards the second half of the race. All of these top 10 guys, including Ramirez, are on the same compounds. Compound 2 on the front, compound 1 on the rear.
Granado really has closed it there, and he's looking for, I believe, he's been on the podium this year. I think he's had 1, yes. The first round at Portimao came 3rd, so Granado really putting the pressure on Marini here.
And
in the background, and the fastest lap. In the background, Nagashima and Pons catching the polishers. That's where I got confused. There was a red bike with a yellow bike. It's easy.
Solid ride from Granado. Hopefully we'll see a really nice battle between these two, as it looks like the two Tech 3 bikes seem to stretch ahead. There's Fellini. Really serious pain there for Fellini, not even gotten his helmet or gloves off, just straight head down and holding that wrist. So maybe that injury was quite serious.
Yeah, it doesn't look great, is it? And the Targo Bank, as you say, Motorsport running the Tech 3s in this, the BMWs in the Superbike Championship, and Tech 3s really pulling away at the front. They do obviously like this track, as we've seen in Tesla last year, and in qualifying setting the pole record. Look at them flying here.
And Granado just trying to look for a way past, going a bit wider than trying to carry a tiny bit more clean speed than
So we got the inside, he makes a move up the inside.
Beautiful.
Has to get his leg out.
And that's the other thing with all these really tight corners is if you can park at mid-corner, there is no way anyone is getting through you. So
in other words, get up the inside, jam on the brakes, park it on the apex, and as you say, because there's not a corner speed, you can get on the gas and you can get out of there. And he's saying to Marini, wait, tag on the back of me, we're going to chase these Tech 3s down.
And Granado's setting really good times. Granado's first sector was faster than Tesha, just slightly slower than Liège. So, there's still 14 laps to go, so I wouldn't rule Granado out of the lead.
Do you know what? And you're right, if he can bring Marini with him, that's what I need. Nagashima 4.5 seconds back from Tesha in the lead. And Pons, he's up into 6th now, but he's not making any dramatic progress. He's lapping a couple of tenths slower than the leaders, so I think he's going to struggle to get anywhere near the podium.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that we saw Pons really struggle. We saw Pons struggling now this season. Because he was carrying a bit of flu, but here it seemed like he's been okay this weekend. Health-wise, but it looks like come race day it's just not quite working for him, at least in this first race.
Now you can visually see Granado actually starting to close this gap down. Now I wonder if these sector guys are sangulating a little bit at the front because they don't need to push too hard, but now they're going to get the signal, maybe a little bit of a hurry up. Maybe not this lap, but definitely the next lap they will, so it'll be interesting to see how they respond to the moment, as you say. On the last lap before this one, Granado was a couple of tenths quicker, and he still is on this lap, so reducing the gap to 2.2.
Race for Granado there,
Yeah.
so really good result from him.
He's almost the only rider actually getting close to the 1:42s if he gets into that, and he's reduced the gap in front to 2.2 seconds, so it's starting to get exciting. Now this is the battle for fourth, and it looks like Pons has got past Nagashima. So what were we saying about Pons struggling today? He seems to have just suddenly, look at him, he's kicking through the field.
So clearly heard us and wanted to prove us wrong. I'm more than happy to sit here and prove wrong as he charges through the field. Pons has an excellent riding, so all over the place. The rear stepping out so much. It's really dramatic to watch.
I was just about to say, he's having huge moments and I remember to say with Pons. He's like a Sam Lowe's,
foot off and
Marquez.
sliding the rear.
He literally, at some points, he even gets his other foot on the other side off the pegs. He's really all action. And it looks like he's crashing in every corner, but that's normally a sign someone's going rather quickly. So yeah, this is turning into an interesting battle. Look at Nagashima getting the back out there.
I think that was a bit too sideways for Nagashima there, maybe a bit unintentional. But just to quickly come back to times, the top, what's that? The top 8 are all setting 143s.
Yeah.
The whole time was a 140. The times they're setting now would have put them about 16th, 17th on the grid.
It shows how much colder it is out there, the conditions are changed. And also I think from the moments we're seeing, I mean Stephen Odendahl is so experienced and a very, very good rider. For him to be caught out in conditions on the warm-up lap shows you how tricky they are out there. And as we say, everyone's having huge moments. But now look, Pons starting to focus on the rear end of his teammate Luca Marini and is starting to think, look at him all over the shop with that bike. That's unbelievable riding style. He's definitely exciting to watch.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he's really putting the pedal to the metal now. He's 0.3 of a second faster in the second sector on just that lap alone. But Granado has now dropped into the 142s. But having said that, Pons beats his lap for 142.666. For Pons is now the fastest lap of the race, and they are really starting to motor.
So this is going to be interesting with 11 laps to go after this one. It's a case of, I think Pons now, as you say, whatever issues he had when he was just getting used to the bike, maybe he needed to adjust a few things, and I'm not sure, but whatever it was, he's got into his groove, and he is flying now, and he has his teammate as an incentive, the carrot dangling in front of him. He's taken 4 tenths out of him in the first sector of the race. That's incredible.
Yeah, really strong result from him. And as this is all happening, Vierge and Tesha, they're both really close at the front, just 0.1 of a second splitting those two. But right now it's all about Pons charging through the field. Damage limitation. Pons is currently 3.8 seconds off Tesha in the lead. It's doable to get back there, but it's going to be very hard, so I think it is damage limitation this race.
Just an up-down badly around the virus. He's currently, I believe, in 25th, 43 seconds back from these guys, 12 seconds. Unfortunately, back from the person in 24th, so struggling in these mixed conditions on the virus. But look at this. This is what we love to see. What is the first rule of motorsport is beat your teammate. And you've got Alan Tesha out there who, don't get me wrong, it's more important that Vierge takes the win for the championship for the team, but Tesha's not going to give up without a fight. But Vierge is looking a lot smoother than second.
Yeah, Tesha a bit squirrely into that corner, leg off, which is not too unusual, but the rear end of that bike just seemed to be squirming around a bit more than the others.
Now, this is such an interesting battle on obviously identical Tech 3 bikes. Now, Vierge is going to start to think, well, these guys are starting to close behind me. I maybe need to get past. If he's got the pace to do it, he's going to want to do it as soon as possible, really, as they come down the start for the straight to complete lap 8.
Granado's slightly close. The visual gap for Granado's is getting there. Granado's still 1.5 seconds back, but it's closing a tiny bit. Granado again in the 142s. Tesha and Vierge 143s, but then the likes of Marini and Pons, they're again 142s.
Yeah.
Pons dropping the fast lap time again, approaching that 142 mid range.
So it's lap 7, I just completely correct myself there. And as you say, with Tesha Vierge, they're saying here, it's 4 tenths, but look, and there goes Vierge up the inside, taking Tesha, so that is the lead
But
for Vierge.
Vierge looks like he's run a bit wide. Tesha trying for the tail line, but no. Vierge managed to just get it back around to block him.
And made it stick, but look how close Granado is in the background. He's got it down to almost a second as well. So Vierge, this is crucial for the championship. He will now want to try and put as much distance and positions between himself as Pons as possible.
And the more these two battle, the closer Granado will get, the closer Marini and Pons will get. So really, this battle is not only good for us viewers, but it's good for all those riders just behind.
And good for the championship as well. Look at Pons! I'm sorry, he had the back out there for about 20 metres. sliding that into the corner. That just goes to demonstrate, we're saying, one of the best stars, and it's quick. A 1:42.6 on that last lap. Wow.
Yeah, he's now really, really close to Marini. I think it'll just be a matter of corners before he's past Marini.
And ironically, on that last lap, it was only him and his teammate Marini who went into the 42s. Also, apologies, along with Granado. So these three, obviously the quickest on track at the moment. Pons, though, is going to want to get past Marini as soon as possible because
he's gaining at every corner. Based on the pace, it doesn't look like he's Granado and certainly getting over the leaders, but it's whether he can close that gap. It's now just under 3 seconds.
Big look back as he came to start, finish straight there. The gas man, as Edgar Pons is known, and he knows now that, okay, he's got rid of Nakashima, I should say, sorry, behind him. So he's literally focusing on Marini. Look at him close that down into turn 1. That's really visually closing now, isn't it? It's going to be a 0.2 second, maybe.
Yeah, definitely getting in there much, much closer. And now I think he's just waiting for his chance. It'll be interesting to see if he tries to force a move or if he just tries to slip past. You know, you don't want to risk a crash now. Maybe there are still some problems with the bike and he's just not trying around them.
And just to update at the front, Viej opened up a 0.4 of a second gap over his teammate Tesha in second, up to now 0.6, so he is lapping, and he put in a 1:42.4, but Pons on that last lap, a 1:42.2.
Yeah, that's really, really rapid. That would have been, on the grid, that would have been, you know, top 5, top 6 sort of stuff.
He's literally only, well, okay, we had a 1:40.8 as the new record in qualifying, but, you know, circuit records, that's right on the pace. But look at Granado. Now, as you were saying, while we were watching Tesha and Viej get involved, Granada's closed up, Pons has closed up. This is going to be a rather exciting couple of laps. Is Pons going to make a move there? No, he just
slightly tighter line for Pons there. As Marini goes a bit wider, but yeah, it's definitely getting close. And as you say, it looks like Tesha's maybe starting to, I don't know if Tesha's dropping back a bit or if Granada's gaining. We've seen a lot, especially with Tesha, that he doesn't, for some reason Tesha seems to cook his tires more quickly.
Yes. Where everyone else has improved now, moving into the 1:42s, Tesha on that 1:43.2 is so consistent, it's what he's been doing in the race, but he's not improving, everyone else is. So it looks like he will be caught, and it'll be interesting to see if he can hold on even to a podium spot. If Marini can up his pace. Now Marini's starting to realise that, yeah, okay, my teammate's there, I probably need to get a wriggle on.
Yeah, and great with that clear visor there, as you know, you can see exactly where Marini is looking, you know, already looking at where he wants the bike to go, looking through the corner. And that is one of the advantages of these overcast conditions.
Now, we're saying that Granado has closed the gap to Tesha to 0.8 of a second, and Marini's only really 1.2 seconds further back from that, with Pons all over him. But this is going to start slowing up Pons now, really. Okay, 1:42.3 on that last lap is not exactly disastrous, but Viej is putting a 1:42.1 at the front of the field. The new fastest lap of the race is Viej looking to try and gap his championship rival as much as possible.
Yeah, really crucial. He looks pretty confident in warm-up. Warm-up was obviously held in the wet conditions. It looks like the sun is now starting to come out more, so that track temperature will be rising step by step. And are getting more close to ideal conditions. Who knows what race 2 for Moto2 will hold later today.
Really don't know. As we say, we've actually got some very grey overcast clouds. Not big rain clouds we mentioned before, but it's looking dodgy. And here it comes, Viej. Is he going to make a move on Marini? Oh, he's sizing him up.
Tries to get it stopped. Ooh, that's really close. But I know Pons luckily managing to just get it stopped. You know, with moves like that, you have to be really careful because front wheel versus back wheel is not going to end well for either rider.
No,
and
there we go. He's gone past him, but
Marini's straight back past. Oh, Pons, bit of a wheelie as he gets hard on the gas, but Marini just taking those nice tight lines, you know, maybe learning something from his half-brother when he was battling Danny Pedrosa in Aragon. Pons is there,
not
just
happy, shaking his head,
head.
thinking championship. Come on, mate, you're my teammate. But you know, Marini's not going to give up that place, is he?
No, certainly. He's out there to do the best he can so that he can secure himself a ride for next year.
And all the way, Viej again just putting in quick lap after quick lap at the front. And Granado definitely catching Tesha. So this is an incredible. This is your top 5 with Nagashima in the background there. Your top 6. I think this is boarding up to be very exciting last few laps. We've got 7 to go as they come across the stripe for a complete lap 11. And they
just
will do shortly.
Sliding there again from Pons. He's just trying to get past Marini as these guys in the front. Pons again having a big look there, taking a slightly different line into this tight turn 3 before they flick it left for turn 4.
Now it's interesting because we talk about the different styles. Marini's a lot more smooth, a lot more sus. It's almost watching Lowe's versus Zarco or something. Because look at Pons getting the back out there, but he is going quicker, and I think we're going to see him make a move.
Corner speed. And here we go. This is a replay of that battle.
So slides up the inside into the left hand
Lines it up
beautifully, but just couldn't quite get it stopped.
And then Marini straight back through, pushes him out wide. Pons, tiny bit of a shake, big shake of the head there.
But here he comes again. Now those two. Now he looked across at his teammate there, and they almost make contact. No real love lost there, is there? But
leg out to try and stop getting through. They're so close there, but Pons manages to just
makes it stick.
Cut off Marini's nose. But look, Marini's coming back for the inside. Marini's not having any of this.
So this is the battle for fourth between the two Pachinas and his teammates. It's an incredible battle. Marini, I thought he was going to make a move up the inside. I think Pons might have made this stick though, and he has definitely got the pace. Only a couple of tenths a lap on his teammate, but now for Pons, this is a case of he needs to focus on Granado. He needs to start trying to hunt down Viege in the front. I don't know if he's got time to get Viege in the front because he's 3.8 seconds back, but realistically, Pony is definitely required to follow the Spaniard.
Yeah, and this is a really good ride for Marini. Pons has been in this championship for 3 years. This is Marini's first year on these bikes in this champ. She obviously rode in Moto3 before, but stepping up to Moto2 and able to battle pretty well with a guy like Edgar Pons. There you see Edgar's dad, Cito Pons, obviously legendary rider in his own right, now team manager, helping both his sons and many other riders come through.
Completely right, and obviously, as you say, it was interesting. We saw Cito Pons leaving the track last night, walking out with his wife, which is really confusing because there's nothing within miles of the circuit, so I wonder whether we're doing it.
I don't know, but he was a true gentleman, carrying the bag for his wife, so even world champions are still humble.
Now look at Viege, he puts in the fastest lap of the race, a run at 42.1. He's consistently been going around that. Now Tesha in second, 142.5. Granado's closed that gap to 2.7 to Viege at the front. It's 1.2 to Tesha, where Pons, and he's getting his magnets now focused onto Granado. So it's very interesting, and really just dropping 4 tenths on Pons on that lap. So as we said, obviously Pons having the pace on his teammate.
Yeah, solid ride from all these top guys, and it will be interesting to see if Granado can hold off Pons. It looks like Pons is also dragging Marini with him a bit, so maybe Granado will have a bit of trouble.
Just to point out one of your favourite runners, Marco Ramirez, up into 8th on the stock R6, only 15 seconds behind these guys.
Yeah, and the next stock bike is in 20th and is about
47.
About 33 seconds behind Ramirez. So Ramirez clearly a step above in that stock 600 class.
I can't get over that on an R6. He's ahead of Petit, Lacona, he's ahead of Miguel Pons, Morales, Ramdan, Rosley, Max Enderline. Brilliant stuff from the young rider. That's superb experience.
Yeah, and Ramirez is one of these guys who, a lot like Bradley Ray, is sort of floating around the series this year. And if he could get a really solid ride in somewhere like the Moto2 European Championship next year, then I reckon he could be on for big things, because he was really impressive in the Red Bull Rookies Cup.
Yeah, and to be doing that, as you say, on a stock R6 versus these guys is incredible. So, as we come across the line to complete lap 12 then, that is Viege leading from Tesha, 1.3 seconds. Granado, as you say, 2.5 seconds back from Viege, and only 7 tenths now back to Pons in 4th. Marini's 5th, Nagashima in 6th, just to complete the top 10. It's Medina, Ramirez, Petit, and Lacona in 10th. So that's your top 10 of the Moto2 European Championship, race 1. I'm out of breath already, it's too exciting.
It's been an excellent race, bit of a tough race for Team Shouty though. Obviously we saw Fellini pull in, and now Gabriel's the youngest rider in the class. He's in 24th and just ahead of Bradley Ray, so it's clearly 1 or 2 issues for Ruhu as well.
Yeah, Bradley Ray, we should point out, just coming around on that last 30 seconds behind the leader, so not having the best run, but in 25th and doing as much as he can, and he's impressive set as well. So here we go. We've got, 5 laps after this to go. It's looking like it's building up, and look at Pons closing in on Granado, and Pons now really starting to pull the trigger and put the hammer down on 142.061. Fastest lap of the race on lap 12 of 18.
Yeah, really good ride from Pons here. I reckon he'll definitely be able to get past Granado, or at least try to get past Granado.
And Tesha isn't that far up the
field,
so
Tesha's
second
about
place.
0.8 ahead of Granado there, so it's all really, really tight. Pons has the advantage over both. Pons has the fast lap with 142 dead last lap, which is 0.3 of a second faster than Granado, and half second faster than Tesha.
If Pons can get up into second, finish behind Viege, meaning he'll lose 5 points in his championship lead, so his lead will go from 34 to 29, but he would still have a 29-point lead heading into race 2. So
yeah, championship would become impossible this weekend, but a 29-point lead is still a really solid gap. Having a 25-point lead over race win is considered to be comfortable for all races.
He gets that back out so much. It's just, I should really be used to it by now, but every time it catches me by surprise. Look in there, coming up on the back of Granado. And as a rider, if you had Pons coming up behind you, with the amount the bike moves about a bit, I'd almost be tempted to give him a bit of space. Do you know what I mean? He's like, maybe after you. Obviously, no rider's ever going to do that, but it does take up a lot of time, let's put it that way. With his legs hanging out and the bike moving around so much.
Yeah, and Pons really strong through section 5, through corners 5, 6, and then into 7. He's really strong here, and he does seem to gain a lot. I reckon we'll try and line something up for turn 8
last lap, another fastest lap. First man to go into the 141s, 141.9.
And that would have set him, that would have put him just 6 on the grid, and that is only 0.6 slower than his qualifying lap. Here he comes looking for a way up the inside of Granado, but not quite able to get there. But now it's just a matter of when, not if.
It's turning tight, the Granado through there. It's interesting, different lines. Will he make a move and try something? So what actually Pons has been really clever in this race, he hasn't tried to make a move too early. He has sat behind him if he needs to for that, to wait for that opportunity. But he's also got Tesha right in front of him. So while Viège has disappeared an extra 2 seconds further on the road, he's now thinking, that's second place, isn't it? Literally 5 yards ahead of me. I just need to pass these two guys.
Yeah, and I think it'll be all 3 of these riders now dicing for second. It's interesting to see Tesha. Tesha's got this car again. He's now back into the 142s. So maybe he dropped off for a couple laps to try and save his tyres.
Which would be a very sensible thing to do, as we have mentioned. Tesha does use up his tyres quite aggressively, isn't he, during the race? We've noticed that before. But here comes Pons. Is he going to make a move into turn 1 of Granado? He lines him up. He definitely looks like he's going to try under braking, and he does. Look at that. Flies past him. We said under braking, there's not a lot of braking into turn 1.
So sideways through there yet again every time. And I don't know if Granado will have an answer. It looks like Granado's going a bit wider to try and get some more
drive, try and carry the speed, but I cannot get over how Pons gets that point. As you say, he seems to slide through the whole of corner 1 and 2, and he's literally drifting it. Now he's got his sights set on Tesha, who is only half a second further up the road. I think we can see that gap come down very quickly.
And as you were saying before, Pons is really waiting. He's not forcing an opportunity, he's just waiting for the opportunity. And once he does have that opportunity, he's able to just push ahead.
Now, if he can get past Tesha here, he's lapping half a second quicker than Viège at the front at the moment. With 4 laps to go, and there's a 2-second gap. So, mathematically, he could be on his back wheel. Whether Viège is obviously sandbagging a little bit and will get the hurry up from the pit lane, I don't know. But I think Pons needs to get past this lap. So he needs to kind of throw the caution to the wind, really, if he wants to have any chance staying on the top step. And, therefore, taking the championship this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure he'll be thinking about the championship this weekend. I think he'll just be looking for solid results. But it would be really helpful.
It'd be nice for him going into the flyaways, wouldn't it? MotoGP3 racing in 2 weekends to know that actually it's pretty much slowed up. But as you say, unless he has a disastrous or a DNF in the race, it doesn't look like he's pretty much in control of the championship. But look, he's turned tighter coming out of that corner there.
And there is Bradley Ray getting out of the way on the virus. You just saw it from the left-hand side of the screen. All these guys.
It's a shame, actually. We would have given us a chance to have a good look at the virus. He got out of the way so quickly, we didn't get a chance to see that hub steering system, which intrigues so many people. So here we go, coming across the line to complete lap 15 of 18. It's Javi Viège leading 1.7 second lead over Tesha, with Edgar Pons just 4/10 further back. Granado 4th, Marini 5th, Nagashima 6th.
Tesha setting his personal best lap that lap. Clearly he knows that Pons is just behind him, so he's really pushing hard now, but still Pons is 0.2 of a second faster than Tesha, and then half a second faster than Viège.
This is where Tesha knows, without talking about teammates too much, is going to be doing a job for his teammate, isn't he? Surely. Viège is thinking, Tesha, please stay second, because that will mean that obviously he misses out another 4 points. Viège, if he has to get third instead of second. So, but with Viège is thinking, it's 4 extra points if I can take this guy. So the two Targo Bank Tech 3s maybe working a little bit together here, which is interesting. And obviously Tesha's not going to want to give up a position anyway.
Yeah, Marini's, he's pretty solid in 5th. He's 4 seconds back on Granado, and then he's about 5 seconds ahead of Nagashima. So it looks like 4, 5 and 6 are all pretty much settled in, because Medina's then 10 seconds back on Nagashima. But it's this battle for second that's really intriguing us. As you saw there, Pons closing up again through the tighter sector, sector 2 and sector 3 of this track. It looks like Pons is really strong, because maybe Tesha has a bit of an advantage to some of the faster and the flowing stuff.
And Tesha, as you say, having set the lap record, the pole record, so taking pole in this race, would have maybe hoped he would have been battling for the lead, but it's been a brilliant ride from the Frenchman anyway, and he actually seems to be holding off Pons. Now Pons has managed to gap Granado by a second, so I don't think he's worried about Granado coming up, but it looks like Granada's just starting to close up here, so Pons may be thinking, well, it's not the start for a podium, because he's not making a dent into Tesha's
Yeah, and it's through this sector here, you see Tesha open the gap there through sector 2. Tesha's really strong there, and it looks like he's even getting stronger in this final sector, able to open up that gap just a little bit on Pons. I don't know if Pons will be able to get him. It looks like the Frenchman's really kept that reserve. He's half a second faster just in the final sector, Tesha. So Tesha putting in some solid laps now, and it looks like maybe Pons is a bit out of it on this lap.
Exactly what you said. Pons is closing up to within 2/10 halfway through the lap, and then Tesha in that final section of it. He's 2 seconds behind the lead of Viège, so with it's on the pole to that, but it looks like Viège has done enough for the race win. Pons and Tesha battling out for second, but look, Granado is definitely getting involved in the back of Pons' rear wheel there as well.
It looks like there was something flapping off maybe Pons' boot.
Oh, a huge moment, Granado.
Just as you say that, curse of the commentator, absolutely massive crash for
It
Granado.
looked like his back just locked up.
Yeah, that was a very strange crash going uphill.
Lucky to be okay
At
there.
that point, it doesn't look like he'd be on the gas or on the brakes. It looks like he just that part of the car was just coasting through. So
It looked like his back wheel just locked because it flicked him off, which is worrying. But that's obviously not Granado. Marini way out of the picture as well. Probably had to slow to avoid it. Oh, and then a huge moment for the edge. He's still trying, really trying to get that bike stopped coming into the corner there. And as we're heading on to the last lap, disaster for Granado, crashing at fourth.
Yeah, and really strange, conditions still a bit tricky, but that did look like it was a bit of a technical problem there. And Judge, I'm trying to see what it is hanging off Pons' boot.
There's definitely something hanging off there. Whether it's
flapping around.
Is it his boot or is it the exhaust? It does look like his boot.
A bit of tape or something that maybe used to patch something over. But I don't think that'll have too much of an effect because it does look like it's about to throw back on Tasha as they begin to wind up for the final lap.
I've got something for Granado. He's been riding so well, deserved that. And that as you say, that genuinely, not trying to say too much about the bike, but it looked like there was a fault because the back wheel just locked. So unless there was a brake issue, unless the chain's gone or the gearbox is gone, that just threw him. You can see Marini in the background, lonely fourth place for the Italian.
It looks like there were 1 or 2 spots of rain on our camera again. Maybe it's starting to rain again. The clouds are looking a bit darker.
It's darker out there, so I wouldn't be surprised if the temperatures drop because it's clouded over, it looks darker.
Yeah, a bit of a twitch there from Pons as well again. So I'm not sure if that's his tyres that are dropping on, if they want to push so hard, or if the track is starting to get maybe a bit greasy from some light rain.
So Xavi Villers at this rate on course for his third win of the season, and it will close the gap by 5 points to Pons. Well, actually, it would be 9 points, wouldn't it, if Pons stays in third like it is? So Pons will see his lead from 34 to 25, which, as we know, is a race win, and one of them crashes out in race 2. Wow, could be even Stevens. It's
and that's the other thing is that a 25-point gap's all very well and good, but when you have guys like Tesha who probably can in the second race again finish between them.
Yeah, it can be a huge difference. This championship is no way done and dusted. So we've got the last few corners to go as they've come down the back straight. It looks like Villers is going to take the race win. It's 2.6 seconds in the lead now. Brilliant ride. Tesha in second, the second Targo Bank Tech 3. Looks like he's going to bring home podium. And what will that be? It will be his...
Yeah, it's a really good ride from all of these top 3. Unfortunately, we've hardly spoken about Villers.
Only his second podium of the year, sorry.
And after just a couple of corners, Villers sort of broke away, so we haven't had much time to talk about him. But here he goes, coming just about to work up to the back straight, and a really solid win from him.
Yeah, and as we say, third win of the season for Villers. And, well, yeah, it means that the championship very much still alive. And he crosses the line. Superb work then from Xavi Villers on the Targo Bank Tech 3. No wheelie, no celebrations. It's all business as usual. And then his teammate Alan Tesha secures second. Edgar Pons in third, looking rather disappointed.
Pons clearly not overjoyed with that. Probably could have secured a bit of a better result in his mind.
Luca Marini in fourth.
Yeah, solid result for him. Nagashima fifth. Thanks to Granado's crash. Luckily coming up on our timing streets that Granado is okay. And there are Tesha and Villers congratulating each other. I have to go talk with Villers in Parc Fermé.
Get down there, Harry, and as the rest cross the line, we'll keep you updated. It looks like Ramirez, he's just lost out on 7th, but Marco Ramirez finishing in 8th on the stock R6. Unbelievable. Petit was 7th, Medina was 6th. Lacuno has just crossed the line in 9th, and it looks like Miguel Pons will claim 10th. We'll get the full rundown of the race results in just a bit, but a great result for Villers. And as I say, with Pons finishing in 2nd, it means that his championship lead has been cut from 34 to 25 points. All to play for with 4 rounds left, and we have another Moto2 race later on for you after 4 o'clock. Should be about 4:15 with the delay we had due to the changes earlier. But the ominous thing is looking up at the sky. It's getting dark. But brilliant win, and as I mentioned there, Alan Tesha, great result for him. I think that's only his second podium of the season. So brilliant ride for the Frenchman and Frenchman. And then Luca Marini in 4th, which, he's a couple of 4th places, and he had a 2nd at Catalonia, but that's equaling his 2nd best finish of the season. So Marini definitely developing, as you say, rumours are he'll be stepping up to the Moto2 World Championship last year, and here comes Pons into Parc Fermé. Harry will be down there waiting for Xavi Villers, and of course we've got the guys and girls on the podium getting the flags ready. Let's just hope it stays right. I can't believe we've got another 3 races for you today. And up next, Moto3, the Junior World Championship. It is incredible racing. I love that. Some real future world champions there. But you see Villers stopping to celebrate. Seems quite drained, doesn't he? Seems quite emotional. I think that's the fact that he's got the win. He's 3rd of the season. He's not running the fuel, is he? So So let's have a look at the official classification for the race. As I mentioned, Viege taking the race for the third of the season by 2.5 seconds from his teammate Alan Tesher. Edgar Pons ahead of his teammate Luca Marini. Pons finishing in third and only losing 9 points to Viege in the championship. Tetsuka Nakashima, great ride in fifth. Alejandro Medina in sixth. Petite 7, Marcos Ramirez on the stock R6. Unbelievable 8th place finish. And Iker Lecuono, I believe that's his debut as well for Iker, so a great result for him. Miguel Pons in 10th, Julian Marilas 11th, Ram down at Rosley 11th, Xavi Cardenas, Max Enderlein and Thomas 6th, Vartson completing the top 15 in championship point scoring. Nicky Cates just missing out on a point scoring finish, the British rider in 16th, Bartolome Sanchez in 17th, the Aussie Corey Turner in 19th. Palomares was in 20th, Borja Criado, Stefan Fossado, Bradley Ray, a lap back on the virus, but good research and good, I suppose they're getting great data on that virus bike there, the British rider. Granado, Ruhu all crashed out, Bertan and Brenner, and of course we lost Stephen Odendahl on the warm-up, the South African. Hopefully okay for race 2, because I'm sure he'll have a big part to play in that. When you add him and Granado who crashed out later on, obviously I think the top 6 could be very different for race 2, and also saw Fellini pull out. That was with his wrist injury. He'd injured it beforehand, was hoping he could ride, but clearly his left wrist was just taking too much pain under braking. Gradinger saw crash out, Stephen Odendahl, as I mentioned, on the warm-up lap. So those are your results for Moto2 European Championship race here at Sekito de Navarra. We do have another Moto2 race in about, 2-3 hours time at 4 o'clock for you, but that was drama. And Harry is down in Parc Ferme, ready with Xavi Viege, I should imagine, to have a chat with him, as you can see him riding the bike there. Milking the celebration, as you would do. And more importantly, as I mentioned, really opening up the championship, because he trailed by 34 points. Edgar Pons coming into this round. If Pons would have got a win, that could have been up to 40. Pons could have taken the championship this weekend. But now, it's down to 25 points. So in race 2, if Viege could win, and Pons was to score no points, Viege would be joint top of the championship. There you go. Very delicately getting off the bike there. Looked like he was a little bit sore. And you can see how much it means to him. There's no extravagant celebrations. He actually looks really emotional. It's a big, big moment for him. I think it's because of the way he rode that race. He was absolutely superb. Look at him there. Representing his teammate. Hopefully you don't understand Spanish. Apologies if you do. So, big celebrations for Viege. Very happy. As I mentioned, Harry will be down there. He's just literally going to take off his gloves and helmet and will be chatting to Harry about how that went. We'll get the interview in English and Spanish for you. But incredibly dramatic Moto2 race. Almost saw Pons coming through the field after a terrible start. Seemed to be tiptoeing around, didn't he? But managed to take the last stop on the podium. Damage limitation, I suppose, to his championship lead, which has been reduced. We'll get confirmation of that in just a second, but to 25 points. So, wow. Drama here at Navarra then, as the clouds are getting grey. You can see there it looks bright, but from where we are, we can see the clouds coming in from. It's not the brightest out there, but everyone is gathering around the podium. Let's see, hopefully Harry will have grabbed Xavi for a quick chat downstairs to find out what he's feeling, because he seems so emotional, which is unusual. So let's find out how the Spaniard is feeling after a dramatic European race, his third win of the season in the Moto2 Championship.
An excellent race, but how are conditions? It's very cold.
It's very difficult, but today I don't think words for this. Only this race is for one friend, Juan Pereira, condolences, and emotioned with this race. Muy difícil, pero hoy no tengo palabras para explicar. He perdido a un amigo y nada, esta carrera es para él y siempre va a estar conmigo. Muchas gracias.
Xavi Viege, very emotional and completely understandable, as he said, dedicating the race to a friend that passed away. Let's have a look at the highlights there, and that explains why he was so emotional when he came into Parc Ferme. Apologies if I make light of that in any way, shape or form. So, highlights, race 1, the Moto2 European Championship. We didn't have any drama like we had in the Superbike Championship earlier, where they were changing tyres on the grid, but when the lights went out, it was Alan Tesher from pole who had a great start. And Edgar Pons, a couple of big moments for him, saw him going backwards through the field. We're about to see one here. Huge moment on just the opening lap. Luca Marini then making his way past Granado into third place. Granado making his challenge up the mid-side on Marini. Great battle those guys had. And at the front, Xavi Viege would overtake his teammate Tesher to take the lead and never really looked back, opening up 2.5 second gap on the way to take his third win of the season. Great ride from Tesher though. And this was a battle between the teammates. Pons had bided his time behind Marini for over a lap and then decided to make his move up the inside, overcooking it slightly, couldn't get the bike stopped. Marini fought back, but it didn't take long for Vierge to make the move stick on the next lap. And Harry, a very emotional Vierge down there in Parc Fermé as we watch, Pons there getting a little bit frustrated behind his teammate Marini.
Yeah, big win there, clearly for Vierge, and you know, neither Pons nor Tesha really seemed happy with their result either. But here we go, with the highlights. Excellent race. Here was Pons, probably at his closest to Tesha, but unable to do it. Vierge taking an excellent win, really important for the championship, really emotional for him as well. And then, you know, just behind his teammate Tesha and Pons in third. And there we go, Tesha congratulating the two teammates, shaking hands after an excellent race. At the start, you know, the two battling, but unable to really close it up.
So let's have a look at what it does that for the Moto2 European Championship standings. Oh, I think we're going to go to the podium first, actually. Let's have a little cheeky look at that before we do anything else. And we can see there two Spanish flags and a French flag.
Yep, exactly. Marcos Ramirez also up on that podium as the leading stock 600 rider. Really good result from him, you know. None of the other stock 600 riders even finishing in the points. The top was number 25, Solaza, in 18th. So really good result from Ramirez, who hasn't even raced all the rounds this year, but has really thrust himself into contention for that.
You picked it as well. You picked it. You said he's one to watch. A brilliant performance, really finishing 8th on an R6. And I mean, the incredible thing was he was 7 seconds ahead of Licona, Miguel Pons, and the other guys on Moto2 bikes. You know, just superb stuff from the youngster. And surely someone's going to pick him up for a full-time ride in Moto2 and not on a stock bike next year.
Yeah, you'd really hope so, because he does clearly have the talent. There's Pons getting his third place trophy. A bit disappointed with that, you know, he was straight talking to the team, really already getting prepared for race 2 later today.
As you say, I'm sure there's a lot of data and information to be given back. And it's the same when we talked about Bradley Ray earlier, you know, I'm sure he collected a lot of vital data from his team today in these tricky conditions. And as we see, Alan Tesha get his silver trophy for second place. The young Frenchman should be rather pleased with that, shouldn't he?
Yeah, really solid result from him, you know. He's still missing 1 or 2 tenths to really challenge for that victory, but this is a really good result. As we did say, you know, it's all about race 2 now, and anything could still happen then. So we'll have to wait and see, but it's certainly really cold out there. The temperatures are still dropping, you know, the clouds are gathering.
Isn't me, I'm not imagining that. It looks like it's getting colder out there, which normally, as you say in Spain, you see the sun burn through the clouds, but there's no chance of that. The clouds are starting to move a bit quicker, and it's definitely getting greyer and darker. But let's have a look. Here comes the oversized check for the fuel.
Yes, to put into perspective how cold it was, there was a man wearing a balaclava. It was so cold. I think that might have been slightly over the top, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with these temperatures, because, you know, too cold and tyres stop working. But, you know, that's still all in the future. And right now, it's all about this podium, Vierge, national anthem of Spain for him after an excellent emotional win.
There we go, Vierge, very emotional after chatting to Danny Park Firm, as you say, as I understand one of his friends passed away, dedicating a race win to him. His third race win of the season, and we do have Moto2 European Championship Race 2 taking place about 4:15 later on. But up next, we're gearing up for the Moto3 Junior World Championship. An exciting young British rider is making his debut in this championship today, which we'll get to very shortly. Been following his career for quite a while, quite excited about that. But of course, it's also an incredibly exciting championship being fought out by Aaron Canet and Juan Mir. And when you talk about the definition of winner up in it, there is no one better to exemplify that than Juan Mir. But onto that in a second as we watch the guys enjoy their champagne. They're really clever, the girls here. They know how to sneak away without getting covered in champagne.
Yeah,
so.
luckily our commentary position is just adjacent to the podium, so we can see the back.
As you're looking at the screen there on the left-hand side.
I am learning some excellent tips on how to avoid champagne should I ever find myself on a podium. So really good for that. The riders just taking their photo, but here we go. Here are the championship standings. Edgar Pons still leading the way, as we thought would be the case.
25 points, my maths was right, I get a bonus gold star.
156 points just ahead of Vierge, 131, so still all to play for. Alan Tesha moves up into third, 87. Stephen Odendahl, unfortunately, as we saw, unable to start the race. Fourth, 81. Luca Marini, Renato ahead of Nagashima, then Alejandro Medino in 8th, and Fellini in 9th.
Fellini obviously having to pull out because of the wrist pains we said during that race. Hopefully he'll be recovered in time, not for race 2, but for the next round, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
and Miguel Ponsoy in 10th there, Thibaut Bertin 11th, Petit 12th, Rando Rossi 13th, Nekisil 14th, Gabriel Ruhu there in 15th, Gordelis, Max Scheib, who we saw obviously take the podium in the Superbikes earlier, in 17th, Dima Secchi, he's not here this weekend in 18th.
Yeah, and that top 7 that we did see, they're sort of the top 7 every weekend, so they're really the ones that you expect to see. But some guys like Miguel Ponce, it'll be interesting to see if he can break into that top 9.
Well, if you think for race 2, we add Stephen Odendahl into the mix. It should be pretty exciting. But Moto3 Junior World Championship up next.